Okay, well, let's keep going. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا وقدوتنا محمد عليه أفضل الصلاة وأزكى التسليم. اللهم أعلمنا بما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا رب العالمين. Okay, so we had reached a significantly longer dialogue. We spent all of last class going over it and breaking it down, and we're going to read through it. I think maybe one more time today, and then we're going to keep going, inshallah. So, since last time I believe it was Sister Erum and Sister Masarrat, let's have Brother Tariq and Brother Muhammad Tariq and Brother Muhammad Mu'tasim.
Hamid is me. Man anta?
أنا طالب بالجامعة.
أنت طالب جديد؟
نعم أنا طالب جديد.
من أين أنت؟
أنا من الهند.
ما اسمك؟
اسمي محمد.
فمن هذا الفتى الذي معك؟
هو زميلي.
أهو أيضا من الهند؟
لا هو من اليابان.
ما اسمه؟
اسمه حمزة.
ما لغتك يا محمد؟
لغتي الأردية.
لغة الأردية. أهي اللغة سهلة؟
نعم هي لغة سهلة.
وحمزة ما لغته؟
لغة اليابانية وهي لغة صعبة.
أين أبوك يا محمد؟
أبي في الكويت، هو طبيب شهير.
وأين أمك؟
هي أيضا في الكويت مع أبي. هي مدرسة هناك.
أذهبت إلى الكويت يا محمد؟
نعم ذهبت.
وزميلك أين أبوه؟
أبوه في اليابان، هو تاجر كبير.
ألك أخ يا محمد؟
نعم لي أخ واحد اسمه أسامة، وهو معي هنا في المدينة المنورة. ولي أخت واحدة اسمها زينب، وهي في العراق مع زوجها مهندس.
عندك سيارة يا أخي؟
لا ما عندي سيارة، عندي دراجة. حمزة عند سيارة.
Very good, both of you. Hamid, you have a career in acting, mashallah. That was very convincing. Good job. Okay, we could go over this time and time again. I've introduced most of the main concepts. I've purposefully left one for later That's the abuhu, abuka. We'll get into that, but that's not as fundamental as the other things going on. The concepts are going to be reinforced throughout the lesson. So let's move on, inshallah, and we will reinforce those concepts as we go. But before anyone have any questions about the dialogue? Most of the things are going to get ironed out because, as we've seen, the exercises are tailored to reinforce the points that the dialogue introduces. So the first exercise here, أجب عن الأسئلة الآتية. Answer the following questions. Now, you're going to answer them not in the mode of a reading comprehension exercise. You're not going to be searching through the dialogue to find the answers. You're going to be providing the answers yourself from your life. Okay, so the first one is masmuka. You're going to read the question, then you're going to answer it for yourself. What is your name? So number one, first on my list here is Muhammad Mu'tasim. Go ahead, number one.
اسمي محمد.
Good. Read the question too, just for good measure.
ما اسمك.
Excellent. And thank you for showing that, because that was the one thing I forgot to correct about the reading of the dialogue. We have to make sure that when we're reading the Hamzatul Wasl, that we are skipping over it if it's not the first letter of the reading, right? So instead of ma ismuka, masmuka. Very good. And then he said ismi. See how he had to use the correct possessive pronoun. Ismi Muhammad. Very good. Number two, Masarrat.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't unmute. ما لغتك؟
Number
لغتي إنجليزي.
Very sorry, it's going right to left. So normally in English.
من أين أنت؟
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, I cut out for a second. Okay, so number two is yes, mean aina and t in this case, right? So what would you respond?
أنا من Canada. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean Canada. Canada.
Okay, min.
Yes, does that's good, because how would we know whether Canada has alif lam or not? Now we learned.
Yeah, I don't know.
Canada does not have alif lam in front of it. So it would just be ana min Canada. Very good. Awesome. Number three, Sister Erum. If you're there.
ما لغتك؟
Yes. And what would you say to respond?
من الأردية.
Good. So all we would have to do is the first word, we would have to say my language is Urdu. How would we do that?
Sister Musra just did that. She's from Canada. Anna?
You got the easy.
Anna لغتك الأردية.
Okay, very good. So let's look at this just another second more. So when we say this has a possessive pronoun, lughatuka, or in this case, because you're a female, lughatuki. Okay, what is your? Okay, which means that if we're going to answer, we have to change the possessive pronoun to reflect who is speaking. So before it's lughatuki, and now we're going to give the answer back, not with your language. That's not the question. The question is my language. How do we do that? We do that with a possessive pronoun on the end of the word, and not with a subject pronoun, ana. We had mentioned, I think last class or two classes ago, to say ana is to say I, right? It's not to say mine. This is a subject pronoun. What we really need is the possessive pronoun, which is E, that's put on the end of a word. So what we're going for is لغتي الأردية. لغتي الأردية would be the answer if you're going to say that my language is Urdu. Good. So this is the exercise. So number 1 and number 3, you had to switch the pronouns. Number 2 was kind of easy because you didn't really have to. You said "أنا من Canada." That's the easy one. But most of the exercises, you're going to have to grasp what the possessive pronoun they're using is. Then you're going to have to change it to reflect yourself. And in all of these examples, since you're talking about these yourself, it's going to be using E. So number 4, Brother Muhammad Tariq.
أين أبوك؟ أبي من Canada.
Great, great. You got the most important thing right. You changed the possessive pronoun from abuka to abi. But this question isn't asking min aina abuka. It's just asking aina abuka yani al-an. Like, where is your father now?
Not where is he from? Okay.
See the difference there? If we add min to the beginning, min aina is from where? Without min, it's simply where is your father? Aina abuka.
أبي Canada.
Abi, yeah, fi Canada. We would have to use fi if we're going to say where he is.
أبي في Canada.
No, I believe is how they spell it.
Canada.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, number 5, moving right along to Brother Tamim.
Sorry, you cut out there. I think you said Tamim. Aina ummuka? Ummi fil bayt.
Very good. So see how he did 2 things. The first thing is that he, by the way, anybody notify me if it keeps cutting out in the chat box. Sometimes the live stream and the Zoom call, for some reason, the internet can't handle it, so I can always end the live stream. He recognized this is ummuka. He has to change it because he's talking about his mother, ummi, and now he has to. Yeah, that's what I'm actually getting messages that this is not stable, so I'm actually going to end the live stream. 1 second. Some days it's just like that. Which means I don't need the microphone anymore. Okay, and hopefully that will speed up our connection a little bit. Okay, and then he has to come up with an answer. So the actual question was aina, just aina, which means where. Okay, where is your mother? Ummi fil bayt. And any answer would have sufficed. Like the dialogue, you can reply with a country or a city. You can reply with a room or a house or some sort of building, something like that. It's all fine. Moving on to the Sayyid family. Would someone do number 6?
One.
Yes. Good.
But I'm not going to know how to answer this because I missed the last class.
Okay, so this is in disguise. This is the li that we've used for possession. Okay, so remember when we said liman?
Yeah.
Right, that was like whose, or we said al-qalamu li Muhammadin, right? Belongs to. Okay. And what we learned in this lesson is that we can use this lam and we can attach a possessive pronoun to it, like lek, going to change it a little bit. It's not going to be li anymore. It's going to be lek. That's purely for phonetic reasons. Li, right? Lek is like yours. Li, mine. Lahum, theirs, etc., etc., etc. So when we're asking a question with lek or lahum or something like that, this is a hamza that asks a question. Laka akhun is asking literally, do you have a brother? And so since it's a yes or no question, the first part of the answer is going to have to be yes or no. And then the second part of the question, we're going to have to use lam, and we're going to have to add the correct possessive pronoun to reflect me, like yes, I have. And then we're going to just fill in with the last part of what they said. So we can walk through this one together, no problem. I understand. Yeah, the difficulty level in this chapter ramped up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Nowhere. So this would be, if you had a brother, say na'am, yes. You're looking for lam plus ya, which is the possessive pronoun. That's going to equal li akhun.
Okay.
Right? So the question was, alaka akhun, or for a female, asking a female, alaki akhun? And the answer would be na'am li akhun. Yes, I have a brother, literally.
When does this ya have a fatha on it?
The ya, this
Yeah.
fatha,
Mm-hmm.
certain instances if it's mansub. Okay, so if it is in the accusative case. Can you think of an example? Do you have an example in mind?
I've heard it. I don't know.
Yes, I'll need to look. I'll need to look into that if I can to find some specific examples, because I hesitate to say, because the ya can be a possessive pronoun, right? Or the ya can be part of just a verb that happens to end with a ya, like baqiya, or yabki, cry, right? And so part of a verb. Then if the word is in the accusative case, then it gets a fatha.
Surah An-Nisa, I think. Anyway, I'll look.
Okay, if you can find it, let's look at it and we'll figure it out. Because I know that if a verb ends with a ya, then of course then that can be, we're talking about a present tense verb, then it can have a fatha if it's in the accusative case. I'm not certain off the top of my head if a noun with a possessive pronoun ya at the end would be mansub with a fatha or not. Actually, the Prophet ﷺ used to make dua. He said, khataya ya. Anyway, I don't want to divert too much of our time with that. It needs to be looked into. Very good. So, Dr. Muhsin, could you take a shot at number 7 with our newfound knowledge of from number 6?
هلك أخت؟ نعم. لي أخت ثلاث.
May Allah bless you and your family. If we're going to get into numbers, that changes everything. So let's leave a second. We'll just say, I have a sister. Because technically, even if you have 3, let's say that somebody's being nosy, right? You don't want to tell them how many sisters you have. They ask you, do you have any sisters? You say, yeah, I have a sister. You haven't lied, yeah, you have a sister, but you also have 2 more, right? So li ukhtun. And just for anybody's reference, it would be na'am li thalatha tu akhawat, if we're getting into plural. So let's wait on that for later. If there's one thing, I think that Arabic is very, very organized and makes a whole lot of intuitive sense in general, even much more so than English. But if there's one thing that does not make sense, it's numbers in Arabic. But we will get there, and you will see what I mean when we get there. Number 8, back to the top, Brother Muhammad Mu'tasim.
عندك سيارة.
Very good. And what would be the response?
نعم عندي سيارة.
Very good. Notice how he now uses, I don't want to say conjugate, it's not technically conjugation. He adds the possessive pronoun to a different preposition, عند. And we said that the difference between lam and عند, lam is something that is yours, like it's something that belongs to you, or is something that is, I should say, it's irrelevant whether it's with you now or not. Okay, so if someone says, "Alaka qalamun," do you have a pen or do you own a pen? You could say, "Naam li qalam." Yes, I have a pen, but you might not have one on your person, right? You might be meaning, yeah, back home I have lots of pens. I have a whole pen factory. Inda is talking about things that are on your person, things that you have at your disposal right now. So in the dialogue, the guy's looking for a ride. He says, عندك السيارة. He's like, you have your car with you. And he says, لا ما عندي سيارة. He might have a car, but it's not with him right now. And so here we say, نعم عندي سيارة. So we have li and عند. Good. Next one, Sister Masarrat.
Before, one question on Nam Li. So everywhere it's like two. There's Nam Ukhtu. Why not it's Ukhtun?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's just me not writing it correct. It is ukhtun. Yep. Akhun. Yep. It would be nakira because it's the khabar. Yep.
Thank you.
Very good catch. Let me try to rewrite that so it's legible. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. Excellent. Yes, number 9.
So Surat Ibrahim, وَمَا كَانَ لِيَ عَلَيْكُم مِّن سُلْطَانٍ.
وَمَا كَانَ. Say that again.
وَمَا كَانَ لِيَ عَلَيْكُم مِّن سُلْطَانٍ.
Ya salam. Thank you very much. So our sister brought the evidence that the ya that is a possessive pronoun, in addition to the ya that's part of a verb, like this, yabki, which means to cry. Its default state is having a sukoon on the end. Okay? B, yabki. However, it will accept a fatha if it is in the accusative case, which we're not really into right now, but for your future reference. No, it's a good point. Thank you very much for looking that up.
So should I go ahead with 9?
Yeah, number 9.
عندك دراجة. لا. Is that enough? Or do I have to say la? I don't know. I don't know how I would say no, I don't have one.
Good. No, this was one of the very, very last lessons from the dialogue. So let's review and recap that. So what would we say if we want to negate the possession of something? We would start by saying la.
ما عندي.
Well, that's it. Exactly.
Okay. La. So I have to say la or no?
Yes, because the question is a yes or no question.
Okay.
So it begins with no.
Okay.
And then I don't have.
Okay, so لا ما عندي دراجة.
Very good, excellent. So one of the last lessons of the dialogue was how to start to make a negative statement using jumla ismiya. Up until now, we've only been making affirmative statements and questions. But every tense and every type of sentence, it can be turned into a question, and it can also be turned into a negative statement. So we're introduced in this lesson to how to make a negative statement. And with the jumla ismiya, we use ma. You just stick ma in the beginning, and it means I don't or not. Literally this, and I had pointed out how this is kind of easier than English, because in English, you have to change the order. For example, you have a ball. You do not have a ball. Okay, it's inserted in the middle. If I want to make a question, I have to flip you and do. I have to say, do you have a ball? That's how we make a question. In Arabic, it's much, much more simple than that. We have a core sentence, such as, let's just use عندك قلم, عندك قلم. Okay, that's our core sentence. And then we just add something to the beginning. It's supposed to be a noon. Sorry about that. If we want to make it a question, oh wow. See, it's a Freudian slip there. If we want to make it a question, we add a hamza. If we want to make it a negative statement, instead we add ma. So, عندك قلم, do you have? ما عندي قلم, I do not have one. Here, لا ما عندي دراجة. Run out of space. But be aware, because as we say, for the person who only has a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Be aware that ma has several meanings in Arabic. Okay? So not every ma that you come across in the Quran is going to mean a negation. Okay? وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الطَّارِقُ, or وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ, etc. Everything like that. مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. These are not negative statements. Right? So it has more than just that meaning. But in this particular formula of a sentence, it is a negation. The Prophet ﷺ, when he began to receive the Quran, and Jibreel alayhi salam said, Iqra, he said, Ma ana biqari. I am not a reader. Right? I am not a reader. He negated it in a Jumla Ismiya, and we'll learn later that the Jumla Ismiya is used for permanent states, whereas the Jumla Fi'liya is used for transitive or transient states that change. And so this is actually something very significant when it comes to the tafsir of the Quran, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses Jumla Ismiya for certain purposes to indicate something permanent and fixed, whereas he uses Jumla Fi'liya to indicate something that changes or is amendable to change. Anyway, number 10. Sister Arum.
عندك قلم لا ما عندي قلم.
Fantastic. لا ما عندي قلم. And your husband can go ahead and do number 11.
عندك دفتر لا. I don't have to say anything else if I'm not there. So la. Or I can say,
When you tell your son, don't you, make sure you answer in complete sentences, right?
okay. So hola ma indi daftarun.
Very good, mashallah. And for we haven't used that word in a long time. Daftarun is a notebook. Very good. La ma indi daftarun. Good. Number 12, Brother Tamim.
أبوك تاجر.
Good.
لا أبي طبيب.
Very good, mashallah. Look at how he flips the script. He doesn't have to say. He can negate it in different ways, right? Right? You can negate something by replacing the information with something else. La abi tabibun. Like the inference that he's asking the questioner to make is that if my father is a doctor, then he's not a tajir. Very good. La abi tabibun.
One question on this one. So can we just say that no, he's not a merchant, like la ma abi tajirun?
We haven't learned exactly how to, because there's a couple different ways. Okay, If we want to use a jumla ismiya to negate that, we're going to have to use the pattern and the formula that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said. So this is like a formula. Ma, ana, or subject pronoun, be, and then whatever. So we could say la, ma, in this case, huwa, bitajib. Look at that, how that, that just random reflection, not random, of course, Allah willed it, but that reflection came back to serve us very quickly. La, ma huwa bitajib. Okay, and of course, because it's B, it would be bitajidin. That would be the textbook way to negate it if we're going to use ma. The more common way to negate it is using a jumla fi'liya that we haven't learned yet. It's with using the word laysa. But we haven't learned that yet. We'll get there. And laysa acts on a sentence in a different way than using ma.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Good question. And it would be a rather strong response. Like, when the Prophet ﷺ was saying, ma ana biqari, it's like, I'm illiterate, right? Like, so, and the fact that it's a jumla ismiya is, as we said, something that indicates permanence or, essential, essence. So that's why to negate someone's occupation, we typically use a jumla fi'liya, right? Usually. I haven't heard very many times anyway say ma ana bi talib or anything like that. Usually it's like lestu. I use a form of laysa. Now, for some reason, I'm not sure why that doesn't hold for whether you have a pen on you or not. That's just the way that I've heard the usage go. But very, very interesting to think about, as always. Things you don't think about until till other people are learning for the first time and they ask you. It's like, wow, that is interesting. We use the jumla fi'liya for this situation, and logic would dictate that we use the jumla fi'liya for this other situation, but nobody says that. Good. Number 13. Where had we left off? I think Sayyid family. There's someone from the Sayyid family, number 13.
أنت محمد.
I
No, sorry. من أين محمد؟
Good.
هو من هو من الهند.
Great. Fantastic. He's from India. Be anywhere. He could be min Mecca or min America, anything. Yes. Huwa min al-Hindu. Very good. So notice how she could have taken the easy way out and just said Muhammad again, but she knew that the whole point of this lesson is to go with the pronouns. And so she chose the correct subject pronoun, and that would make more sense in a conversation. Good. Dr. Mohsin, number 14.
language.
ما لغتهن
ما لغته.
ما لغته oh, ما لغته which language I guess who no, I don't know. What they're asking is like what language, but
What is his language?
what oh, so it's continuation from that one.
Right.
Who
You have to say his language.
yeah. No.
I'm gonna say his. I'm gonna say his.
Cannot be Zalika, cannot be. Yeah.
His. You say his.
This one's tricky because they gave it to you. So in the other ones, we had to change the possessive pronoun, right? But now that you're talking about a third person, you don't have to change it. It's what is his language? His language is X.
Oh.
You
Oh,
literally,
okay.
yeah,
So لغة Urdu, لغة أردن.
very good. لغته
لغة
الأردية in Arabic. الأردية. الأردية too. And it could have been anything. But the important thing is that the difference here is we have لغتun, right? Which looks deceptively similar to لغته because of the ta marbuta, huh? Which looks just like a ha, except it's not. And so now the ta marbuta reverts back to a normal ta because it's not any longer the last letter in the word. We're adding the hu onto the end of it. So لغته, his language, al-Urdiyya is Urdu. Very good. Back to Brother Muhammad, session number 15.
أين أبوه؟ أبوه في الباكستاني الباكستان.
Yeah, in Pakistan. Very good. Pakistan. From what I recall, that's how they spell it, with a ba, because they don't have the letter P. So Pakistan. Abuhu, and he could have also said huwa. Both of them are correct. Abuhu, his father, or huwa fil Pakistan. Very good. 16. Sister Masarrat.
أين أمه؟ هي في الباكستان أيضا. I don't know.
MashaAllah. Excellent work. Fil Pakistan Aydan. And she reminded us that Aydan means also. That means, just do this. Aydan is starting to get a little messy over here. Very good. Okay, 17. Let's try to finish this exercise and then we'll call it good. I'm going to erase this and scroll down. Yep, just this is what we have, right? Okay. We have reached, okay, 17. Okay, min ayna hamzatu, Sister Adam. So now they're asking us questions back about the dialogue. Okay. Before it was just asking us questions. Now we're talking about Hamza, we're talking about, Zainab and stuff like that. So you can look at the dialogue if you want, or honestly, you can give your own answer because reading comprehension isn't as important as just understanding how to respond to the question.
من أين همزة؟
Hamza too, because a feminine.
همزة
feminine.
من أين همزة؟
Mhm.
هو العربية؟ No.
Now, what's min aina asking?
Where is Hamza from?
Yes. So where's Arabiya?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi.
Okay, if you want to say Saudi Arabia, we have to say in Arabic, Al-Mamlakatu Sa'diyyatu Al-Arabiyyatu.
Oh, okay. I will choose a different country. Easy one.
Saudi Arabia. So let's
Okay. هو الياباني.
Min al-Yabani, yes.
من اليابان. هو من الياباني. Okay.
Very good. And passing it to your husband. Ma lughatuhu.
Ma lughatuhu, uski language. What's his language? Huwa lughatul urdiyatu. No.
No problem. Let's roll with Urdiya. Maybe he's a Pakistani worker in Japan. No problem. It happens, right? But what's more important is that we would not use huwa here. Right? Because huwa means what? Huwa means he.
His
language.
His language.
Right. So we have lughatuhu.
Lughatuhu urdiyatu.
Exactly. it doesn't really matter. The more important lesson is learning to recognize the pronouns. When am I going to use subject? Right?
So لغته الأردية.
Yes, exactly. لغته الأردية.
Yeah. See, in the first answer, I said indaka daftarun.
Yeah.
See, in our language, daftar means office.
Really? Very
Yes.
Yeah, that's why you get
Daftar,
confused.
Daftar it interests me because it doesn't strike me as being an Arabic root. So I wonder if there's a if it's a Persian root or something like that. I would like to look into that because it doesn't. Most Arabic words, they come back to a 3-letter root. Daftar violates that, obviously. Look, it's 4. Right? So
Maybe it's Turkish or something. I don't know.
it might come from Turkish or Farsi. I'll have to look into it. There are Arabic roots that have 4 letters, but they're very rare. They're few. Good. Okay, brother.
أين أبوه؟ أبوه في اليابان.
Very good. Okay, I don't need to write all that. That's straightforward enough. Very good. Aina Zainabu for the Sayyid family. You can either look at the dialogue or you can just give me any answer. It's not super important.
Aina Zainabu. What?
Where is Zainab? Oh, he where? He she is. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Phil Beatty. She's in the house.
Good enough.
Is that correct? I don't know.
Yeah. That's a correct Arabic sentence. No one can tell you it's not. Hiya fil bayti. Very good. Aina Zainabu. Hiya fil bayti. She's at home, we would say. Good. Aina zawjuha.
Yeah, Phil. I don't want to use Baiti, but maybe
School.
yeah. Aina Phil marketun or
Market.
Market.
Aina Phil madrasatun.
Fil madrasati. Good.
Madrasati.
Fil madrasati. Good. But is it hiya or huwa?
Zawjuha is wife, right? Where is your wife? Or
Who is being possessed and who's possessing here? What? Zawjuha.
Aina zawjuha. So
What's ha referred to? Ha means what? His or her?
oh, his wives. So
No, it's her. Her spouse. Okay? So is her spouse boy or girl?
oh, okay, her spouse. Okay, so hua. I thought it was all right. Okay.
Now, it's tricky. It's tricky because again, the order is switched. So in English, you would say her spouse is here, and we're already okay. Easy, I already know. But in Arabic, it's literally spouse hers, and so we see spouse for a lot of us. We automatically think wife first, maybe for whatever reason, and then we see the ha. It's like, oh, actually, it's her spouse. Good. And the last one, bring us home, brother Muhammad Mu'tasim 22.
زوجها مدرس.
Good.
نعم هي نعم هي مدرس.
Okay. How can it be here if this is mudarrisun? Wouldn't it have to be mudarrisatun?
Oh, I was looking at زوجها.
That same thing. This is good. I'm glad that we ran across this. So Ha means hers. Doesn't mean she. Right?
Okay. Mhm.
So whether if there's a ha, a possessive pronoun, it has no reflection on the gender of the actual thing that we're talking about. It could be a pen or a book or a spouse or a brother, right? So the gender is attached to the actual thing, not the one who possesses it. So here it would be na'am huwa mudarrisun.
Okay.
Arabic. In Arabic, zawja means spouse, not necessarily means wife.
Very good. Yes. So we have the word zoj. Okay. Zoj means spouse or literally pair, right? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about even fruits and plants, he uses the term zoj and azwaj because they're created in pairs, male and female. Even in the Quran, Allah only uses zoj to talk about either pair, Adam or Eve. He never uses the feminine form zawjatu, which is linguistically the feminine form of the word, which can only mean wife, right? So the language of the Quran only uses zoj, and they leave the context to tell you whether that's a male or female.
Okay. In Urdu, zawja means wife. So that's automatically we go through that. We have to.
Very good. So that's very, very helpful to know. And then Sister Masarrat did a wonderful service to us and looked up the etymology of deftar. Hindi for record, office, from Persian, from Arabic, diftar, from Greek, diphthera, prepared hide parchment leather. That's fantastic and fascinating. Hindi and Greek share a common ancestor in languages. They're called the Indo-European language family. However, Arabic is not. Arabic is a Semitic language and has a different history entirely. So I'm going to do a little digging myself and see if I can get some more information on that. See, you know, who got there first. But that's good stuff. Anyone have any questions?
May I ask a question unrelated to this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I noticed in the Quran most of the time when the word min is followed by a word with kasra, like for example, min dunin nas, okay, or min indillah, okay. In one place I saw it said min qablu, then I just wondered why.
Good. So qabl has two possible usages. Okay, qabl can be used as a dharf, okay, which we talked about briefly before as a special class of prepositions, just like dun, just like inda, okay. But qabl also has another usage with the masdar, okay. So sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or in Arabic in general, we use qabl, and it's kind of short for qabl ma, okay, in which case it's fixed upon the dhamma. And this is a slightly complicated point that is going to come later once we start getting into, okay, what is this thing called a masdar and how does it work and what does it do in a sentence and things like that. But yes, so sometimes you're going to see min qabli if it's a straight preposition, and sometimes you're going to see min qabl, right, when it's serving a different function in the sentence.
So when you said fixed, did you mean like mabni, like that fixed?
I believe so, if I recall correctly. If I
Okay.
recall correctly, in those cases, it's fixed upon the dhamma, and that might be my incorrect memory, but it's one of the more subtler and difficult things in Arabic. So,
Okay. Barakallahu feekum.
barakallah. Fantastic. Anyone else's question? Good work, everybody. We've done a lot of great stuff, mashallah. We started so far away from here. We've done 40 lessons, about 40 videos. So alhamdulillah, good progress before Ramadan. And, you know, try to review as much as you can in Ramadan, and we'll pick up afterwards, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.